Big lots, low HOA, privacy, and no short-term rentals on Hilton Head Island. That was the task that my clients this week gave me, and they wanted to be right around $1 million, plus or minus a little bit. And so I'm going to also talk to you about that today, just in case that's something that you might be interested in. So if you're looking for big lots, privacy, low HOA, and no short-term rentals on Hilton Head Island, stay tuned because we're getting after it right now. Do you want to know everything there is to know about the South Carolina Lowcountry, whether it's Bluffton, Beaufort, Hilton Head Island, or Jasper County? Then subscribe below and tap that bell for notifications so you'll be the first to know every time I put out a new video. My name is David Simcox, host of this channel and a local real estate agent. I get calls and emails every day from people just like you looking to make their move here, and I absolutely love it. So whether you're moving in 3 days, 3 months, or heck, even 3 years, give me a call, send me an email, shoot me a text, or you can always book a Zoom call by going to lowcountrylifestylesteam.com. So the last couple of days, I had some people in my car, and the task that they gave me is they said they wanted to be on Hilton Head Island. They wanted bigger lots, like 1/4 acre to 1/2 acre or even more. They wanted privacy. They wanted low HOA dues, and they wanted no short-term rentals, and they wanted to be right around $1 million. And so I put my thinking cap on, and I came up with 5 neighborhoods that fit all that criteria. And I'm gonna jump into that right now. I'm gonna talk to you about those 5 neighborhoods. I'm gonna show you some of the past sold properties in those 5 neighborhoods so you can see what you get for the money. And I'm gonna talk to you about all the lifestyle, amenities, pros and cons of each neighborhood. So if that's something that interests you, let's jump right on in. All right, so we are going to get started, and I'm going to share my screen with you here. And so the first neighborhood that we're going to take a look at, again, I've got 5 neighborhoods for you, but the first one is Hilton Head Plantation. And Hilton Head Plantation, I'll tell you all the details about it here in just a little bit, but I went in here and my search criteria is, again, anything that is no short-term rental allowed, and bigger lots. So in this case, we're going to say 1/2 acre to 1 acre, and 1,700 to 4,000 square feet, and priced between $800,000 and $1.1 million. And in the past year, there have been 5 sales that meet that criteria. So let's just scan through these really quick to give you an idea for what you get for the money. So this one was just over 1/2 acre, 0.57 acres, sold for around $875,000 and built in 1979. And I'll give you a quick little preview of some of the photos here so you can see what you get for the money. And let's jump over to the next one. This one is again on just over 1/2 acre, about 3,400 square feet, sold for about $1.25 million, built in 1988. And again, just a few preview photos so you can see what you get for the money. And here you've got $925,000 on 0.6 acres, 2,500 square feet of living space, and built in 1987. This one sold for $899,000, just over 1/2 acre, 2,900 square feet, built in 1984. So let me show you where Hilton Head Plantation is. So again, this is Hilton Head Island right here. And right here, this whole area is all Hilton Head Plantation. And Hilton Head Plantation is the 2nd largest community on all of Hilton Head Island. And Hilton Head Plantation, the HOA fees are only about $1,300 per year. And the transfer fee, the one-time transfer fee, is 1/4%, but you're also going to have to pay 1/4% to Hilton Head Island. It's about 4,000 acres, so this place is absolutely huge. It's along the Port Royal Sound. So not directly on the Atlantic Ocean, but it still has absolutely beautiful views. There are 4 golf clubs in Hilton Head Plantation. One of them is private. They also have their own marina called Skull Creek Marina, and that's right on the ICW, also known as the Intercoastal Waterway. So if you're a boater and you want to jump on the ICW and head up and down the East Coast, or just jump out to the ocean, it's a really great option. They have slips for sale, they have boat slips for rent, and they also have like a boat club out there if you want to use a boat but you don't want to own a boat. They also have 7 miles of walking and hiking trails. They have 2 nature conservancies, so if you love the outdoors and you love nature, we've got plenty of that. They've got 12 tennis courts. They also have a place called Spring Lake Recreation Center, which has an absolutely incredible resort style pool with a lazy river and playground equipment. Lots of clubs and events that you can join in this neighborhood, a full calendar, so there's always something going on. It is gated, so it's very secure. There's a brand new playground out by their beach area, which is incredible. So if you have kids and you're looking for somewhere to raise your kids in Hilton Head Plantation is a great option. Now, they do have their own private beach area called Dolphin Head Beach, but again, it's on the Port Royal Sound. So it's not the ideal swimming beach. When the tide goes out, there's a lot of mud and a lot of oyster shells that, are not real comfortable to walk on, but it's beautiful to look at. And when the tide is high, it's okay to swim there. I think it's okay. But anyway, that is Hilton Head Plantation. Now let's move on to the next community. All right, so the next community that we're gonna talk about that fits all of our criteria, again, no short-term rentals, big lots, lots of privacy, and right around $1 million. This one is called Indigo Run. And let me show you where we're at on a map here. So this area right in here is called Indigo Run. So this is landlocked. It is not attached to the ocean, but it does have some great features, which we'll talk about in just a minute. I want to show you the houses first. So let's jump back to our criteria. 800,000 to 1.1 million, 1,700 square feet to 4,000 square feet, sold in the last year, and anywhere from a ½ acre to 1 acre. There were 4 sales that happened last year. And let's just take a quick peek to see what you get for the money. So this one sold for $950,000. They don't give you the exact acreage on this one. They just say it's somewhere between ½ an acre and 1 acre. 3,000 square feet and built in 1997. And we'll just take a couple of quick peeks inside the house so you can see what you get for the money. And this next one sold for about 1.19 million, 0.55 acres, so just over ½ an acre. And this one was about 3,600 square feet and built in 1999. Let's take a couple quick peeks at pictures. Beautiful wooded lot, lots of privacy, and I like the interior. Comment down below, tell me if you like the interior. A little more formal, but I like it. All right, let's jump on to the next one here. This one sold for about 1.1 million. It is 0.53 acres, 3,600 square feet, and built in 2002, so a little bit newer. Beautiful exterior, lots of those beautiful hardwood trees out there, lots of shade cover, and we'll just glance at a couple of these photos. Very nice. So move in ready. And the last one, $845,000, 2,300 square feet, a little bit bigger, 0.61 acres, and built in 1994. Here's a couple of photos for you. Very nice. All right, so with that being said, let's talk a little bit more about Indigo Run. Indigo Run, the HOA fee varies a little bit depending on which section you're in. So it's gonna range from about $2,400 up to about $3,800 per year to live in this community. The transfer fee, one-time transfer fee, is going to be 2 times the annual HOA dues. So whichever HOA dues you're paying, just double that, that's your transfer fee. And keep in mind that Hilton Head transfer fee of 1/4%. This neighborhood's about 1,400 acres and they have 47 lagoons. So if you like fishing or you like wildlife, this is a beautiful, beautiful community. There's roughly about 1,000 home sites. There's 2 golf courses. One of the golf courses is private, one of them is public. And they have an area called the Sunningdale Park Tennis and Swim Center, which is optional. And this is a gated community, so it's very secure. And again, it meets all of our criteria of big lots, privacy, low HOA, and most importantly, no short-term rentals coming and going on a weekly basis. So that is our second community. Now we're gonna jump into our third community. All right, we are on our third community that matches all of our criteria of big lots, no short-term rentals, lots of privacy. This one is called Port Royal. And this one I think might be my favorite, and I'll tell you why later. And I think it might be my client's favorite that I took out this week. So first of all, let's get into the criteria and the houses. You can see it's right here on the heel of the island. If we zoom out, Hilton Head looks like a big shoe, and this one is right on the heel, and you've got the Atlantic Ocean right here. And that's actually my favorite part, but I'll tell you about that here in just a minute. So our criteria, again, 800,000 to 1.1 million, 1,700 square feet to 4,000 square feet, sold in the last year, and ½ an acre to 1 acre. So these are big lots. And so let's just zoom through these. It looks like there are 8 properties that match this criteria. I'm not gonna go through every one in detail. I just wanna give you a flavor of what you might get for the money. This one sold just over $1 million. It is 0.52 acres, 1,900 square feet, and built in 1975, so a little bit older, but still absolutely beautiful. They're only giving us 1 photo here, so you'll have to use your imagination from here. This next one sold just over $1 million on 0.56 acres, 2,400 square feet. And this one was built in 1994. I'll show you a couple of the photos. Again, beautiful treed lot, lots of shade, palmetto trees, oak trees, pine trees, and looks like it's in move-in condition. This one here sold for about 1.1 million. It's on 0.66 acres, 1,800 and change square feet, built in 1972, so a little bit older, but still equally beautiful. And again, a little bit different architectural style, but that lot is absolutely incredible with the circle drive. And there you go, there's your interior photos. And we'll just zoom through these other ones rather quickly. This one sold just over $1 million on 0.7 acres, 2,200 and change square feet, built in 1986. This one sold for $995. It's on almost an acre, 0.92, 2,500 square feet, built in 1974. This one sold just over $1 million on 0.52 acres, 2,100 square feet roughly, and built in 1986. This one sold for $990 on 0.55 acres, 2,900 square feet, and built in 1987. And last but not least, this one sold for just over $1 million on 0.67 acres, 2,200 square feet, and built in 1987. All right, now I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about Port Royal and why I love it so much. And again, it might be my favorite out of everything we looked at, and I think it might be my client's favorite too, but let me tell you a little bit more about it. The HOA dues are only $2,184 per year, so very low. The transfer fee is 1/2%. Plus, again, you're gonna pay that Hilton Head Island transfer fee of about 1/4%. It's 1,000 acres, so pretty good size. This is my favorite part right here. So this is why it's at the top of my list. It's got 3 miles of beach along the Atlantic Ocean. And actually, they have their own private beach pavilion out on the ocean with their own private pool. And to me, that puts it head and shoulders above all others. They do have 3 golf courses. One of them is always a private course. I think they kind of rotate which one that month is private. It is gated, and they also have the Port Royal Racket Club. But again, what sets it head and shoulders above all the others, for me personally, is the fact that they have their own private beach access on the Atlantic Ocean with 3 miles of beach and their own pool down by the ocean. I just think that's absolutely incredible. But again, this one fits all of our criteria of no short-term rentals, big lots, and lots of privacy. So again, that is Port Royal, and it's time to move on to neighborhood number 4. All right, so our 4th neighborhood that matches all of our criteria of no short-term rentals, big lots, and lots of privacy is Palmetto Hall. And again, Palmetto Hall is right out here in this part of the island. And so it is also landlocked. There's no access to the beach, but it also has some really great features. Now, good news and bad news. When I set up my search criteria of 800,000 to 1.1 million, 1,700 square feet to 4,000, sold in the last year and half an acre or more, unfortunately, we only got one transaction to look at. And this one sold for $925. And it was on 0.57 acres. And it's a beautiful home. I'll give you a quick little look at it. Lagoon view and beautiful interior. But if you really want over half an acre, you're probably going to be very limited, or you better watch the market very closely. Now, if you're willing to go from a 1/4 acre to a half an acre, then there'll be a lot more options. But anyway, I didn't want to leave this one out just because there was only one transaction. But with that being said, let's talk a little bit more about Palmetto Hall in case you're willing to go below half an acre. So Palmetto Hall is the HOA dues range depending on what section you're in. And they range from about $2,000 to $2,200 per year. So again, very low HOA dues. The transfer fee ranges from $3,000 to $3,400 per year. Plus, again, you're going to pay that 1/4% to Hilton Head Island. This neighborhood is about 750 acres. They have 2 golf courses. They have a Robert Cup and an Arthur Hills golf course. They also have what they call the Palmetto Hall Clubhouse. And that has 2 tennis courts. It's got a junior Olympic sized swimming pool. This neighborhood has about 523 home sites, so it's not huge, but it is gated, it is very secure, and it does match all of our other criteria. So that is our 4th community. Now we're gonna move on to our 5th and final community that matches all of our criteria. All right, so our last and final community that we're gonna look at, I debated whether I was gonna put this one in or not because it kind of matches all of our criteria, but it kind of doesn't. I had to sort of wiggle things a little bit, but I wanted to make you aware of it anyway. It's called Lymington. And the reason I questioned it is because it's within Palmetto Dunes Shelter Cove Resort Complex. So in Palmetto Dunes, they do allow short-term rentals, but this one small enclave called Lymington, they do not allow short-term rentals. And so I went ahead and included it. But unfortunately, when I did my search criteria of over half an acre, I didn't come up with any sales. So I had to lower the acreage down a little bit, and I went to a 1/4 acre to half an acre, and I still only got one result. So it doesn't really fit all of our criteria, but I still wanted to tell you about it. So let's take a look at the house that met the criteria, and then I'll tell you why I love Lymington. So this one sold for just over $1 million. It was on 1/3 of an acre, 0.36. So again, a pretty good size lot, 2,700 square feet. And this one was built in 1995. Here's a couple of photos of the home just so you can see what you get for the money. Now let's talk a little bit more about Lymington in general. So like I said, Lymington is within Palmetto Dunes Shelter Cove Enclave, and it's one part of it. But the reason I went ahead and included it is because they do not allow short-term rentals. They are still relatively large lots, even though they didn't hit that half-acre mark that I was using for the other criteria. They're very private, but here's a couple of really cool facts about Lymington. They have their own private beach access. So this one does technically have the Atlantic Ocean access. They have their own private beach pavilion with their own private pool. And this is probably the coolest part of all, is this is the only community where it's golf cart friendly. So you can actually ride your golf cart down to the beach club. And that's very unique for Hilton Head Island. Most places don't allow beach golf carts to ride around in the community. So I went ahead and included it. They do also have an Arthur Hills golf course. You also have access to the 11 miles of navigable lagoons within Palmetto Dunes. If you want to get a kayak and you want to go through those 11 miles of waterways, they even have their own kayak storage for the Lymington residents. So with all that being said, those are my 5 neighborhoods that fit all the criteria. Thank you so much for staying till the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found it informative. And again, if you're looking for a neighborhood on Hilton Head Island with a big lot and no short-term rentals and privacy right around $1 million, then maybe these neighborhoods would be a good fit for you. And again, if I can help you find your own low country lifestyle, give me a call, send me an email, shoot me a text, or you can always book a Zoom call by going to lowcountrylifestylesteam.com. It's been my absolute pleasure spending time with you today. I hope to meet you in person at some point, but if not, I will at least see you on the next video.